Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Forever Motorsports on Forever Sports for the review of the Monaco Grand Prix. The driver of the day, according to all those who voted online, was Esteban Ocon, who got 23% of the vote. Fantastic driving for the Alpine there, who came in third place. But nonetheless, everybody's looking on at Max Verstappen, who wins Monaco, and Fernando Alonso in second place.
Yes, Max having a great day out there, as well as did Esteban Ocon. He had such a great performance out there to be able to hold on to that third position and fight it out against Lewis Hamilton in the end, who was catching quite quickly. I wonder who we'll have on the podium with, as the Red Bull representative, as we have, I think it is David Coulthard. Yes, David Coulthard interviewing Max Verstappen after this race.
And just to run you through that race there, we had some fantastic driving from Max Verstappen in terms of managing those medium tyres for so long. And then luckily the rain came and saved the day for both him and Fernando Alonso, who had not made it into the pits yet, as had the rest of the grid, and moved on to those inter tyres to take the rest of the race forward. As a result, both of them finishing first and second. Not a great day for Ferrari, who lost a few positions, of course. And Alfa Romeo, though, quite an impressive team, making 10 overtakes in that race there as a result of some changes, etc. So fantastic little race for them as well.
Yes, just to talk you through our finishing order, we had in first Max Verstappen, second was Fernando Alonso, third was Esteban Ocon, fourth Lewis Hamilton, fifth was George Russell, sixth was Charles Leclerc, seventh was Pierre Gasly, eighth was I think it was Carlos Sainz, ninth. Just waiting for the race stats to be pulled up here. Just waiting for that in a second. 8th, we had Carlos Sainz. 9th, Lando Norris. 10th, Oscar Piastri. The two McLarens having a great day out there in Monaco. 11th was Valtteri Bottas, who also made quite a few overtakes, made our afternoon very, very interesting. Nick de Vries in 12th with a good race, finishing ahead of his teammate Yuki Tsunoda, who just completely binned it in the final few laps. Guan Yu Zhou in 13th, Alex Albon 14th, Yuki Tsunoda then, after having that issue, in 15th, Sergio Perez in 16th, Hülkenberg 17th, and then our two retirees from this race, Kevin Magnussen in 18th, he retired quite near to the end, and Lance Stroll, who just lost it into turn 5 and was not able to recover his car and was out of the race.
Yeah, and just a great drive, I think, for Fernando Alonso in terms of, I mean, he had to put up with a little bit of a mistake from the team. Just something to note as well is the fact that, somehow he decided, the team decided that he should go on to mediums, as everybody was starting to change for inter tyres with that rain coming in, and still had such a big enough buffer to the next car behind him that he was able to go into the pits once, then come straight back into the pits and go onto those inters after changing from mediums, and then still come out ahead with still about 5-second gap or 6-second gap to Ocon behind him. So it just tells you how well he was driving around that circuit.
I mean, it was a rather ambitious call for the Aston Martin team to bring Fernando Alonso in for a set of mediums. But I mean, they were lucky that they had that buffer to the car behind them. Esteban Ocon, though, was lucky in the fact that he was able to get a little bit closer to Fernando Alonso near the end, so he wasn't that massive 20-second gap behind him, but still being able to hold on to that third place ahead of Lewis Hamilton, who was catching him in the end. 1.2 seconds, I think, was the gap at the end of the race, as we see now Max Verstappen waiting to go up onto the podium, still live at the moment with the coverage. Such a great race though, Mark. What was your highlight of the race there?
I think my highlight was actually, in terms of the overtakes that were happening, was just a little bit of that Logan Sargent right near the about 15 lap mark. We suddenly saw about 4 cars all overtaken, quite interestingly doing some great little maneuvers to overtake Logan Sargent, who didn't seem to find his feet today at all in that Williams car. But some very ingenuitive driving from everybody, as we saw Lance Stroll cut down the inside just towards the end of the track, and as a result, Perez suddenly saw a line open because Stroll went down the inside, and then decided to follow Stroll essentially to also overtake Logan Sargent on that main straight, and making a double overtake within just a few turns. So that was a little bit of an exciting piece of play of racing there, and some great driving from all the drivers there. In about a 1.5 lap span, we had about 4 overtakes, all on Logan Sargent, and no, he didn't have any issues. It was just, I don't think,
just
was
struggling
driving
to find pace.
Yeah.
I think struggling to find pace, or just he's run out of talent a little bit, unfortunately. Logan Sargent certainly does seem to be on the back foot here this season. He just does not seem to have any pace. He finished last of the actual finishing drivers here in Monaco, all the way down in 18th position. I think we do need to see that seat being swapped out for maybe Mick Schumacher.
And another information piece on that Monaco Grand Prix is Lewis Hamilton takes an extra point for Mercedes for getting the fastest lap of the day. So that was also interesting. So with the new upgrades, they've managed to get the fastest lap. And just watching here, Esteban Ocon smiling and looking very, very happy with everybody for getting a podium position for Alpine. Alpine looking to try and beat Mercedes this year, and that's going to do a big advantage for them to try and get some more points there, finishing on the podium with Red Bull and Aston Martin.
Certainly great to see some different podium finishes here today. Not the usual 1-2 from Red Bull and 3 of Fernando Alonso, but certainly great to see an Alpine making a show here on the podium.
Yeah, as I say, Alpine now getting a bit of points there for Ocon. Get 21 points now. He moves into 9th place. Stroll still ahead in 8th on 27 points. Leclerc and Sainz on 42 points and 48 points respectively in 7th and 6th. Russell and Hamilton in 5th and 4th. Russell with 50 and Hamilton with 69.
Very, very crucially here though is the fact that Fernando Alonso is able to catch up to Sergio Perez a little bit. Fernando Alonso now with 93 points. Sergio Perez finishing all the way down in, where did he finish there? I think he was down in 15th or 14th.
16th,
he now only has 105 points. Not as much of a gap that he had earlier on in the season to Fernando Alonso, but Max all the way at the top of that board now with 144 points in the Drivers' Constructors' Championship.
Yeah, so really, really dominating lead for Verstappen at the moment. Perez dropping off, as you say. And the Constructors' Championship now looks like this. Red Bull, 249 points. Aston Martin, 120 points. Mercedes right on their tail now because both their drivers keep finishing in the top 10, whereas Lance Stroll, unfortunately for Aston Martin, keeps proving a little bit problematic with regards to his races, not finishing them properly. Mercedes 119 points, just 1 point behind Aston Martin at the moment. Ferrari in 4th with 90 points. Alpine now moving up into 5th as a result of this day. 35 points for them. So, yeah, fantastic day for those drivers there. And McLaren, not too bad a day, finishing in 9th and 10th. So both of them finishing in the points, I think, the first time this season.
Yes, I mean, brilliant day for McLaren, having so many issues earlier on in the season, now having a bit of a better race. They did bring some small upgrades to this weekend, notably some suspension upgrades. So maybe that has proved beneficial to them, and they are able to score a little bit more points. Whether that will help them at a more traditional track, though, we will have to wait and see till next weekend in Spain.
So yeah, just to run you through that race, it started very, very cleanly, which I think was a bit of a surprise. The first issue coming from Carlos Sainz, actually, who tried to get very, very close to Ocon and challenging him for that 3rd place position, and ruined his wing a little bit, got way too close, locked up, and then his front wing just got sandwiched between Ocon's back rear tyre. So as a result, got a little bit of damage there, but it didn't seem to do too much to Sainz as he could continue the rest of the race without replacing that wing. And then, yeah, I mean, we just had some dry running, not too many overtakes. It was just Logan Sargent there that was being overtaken for a little bit. And then pretty much some stock standard racing. Sergio Perez came straight into the pits in lap 1 to try and get ahead of everybody and undercut them in the pits, but it didn't work because he unfortunately also had a bit of an issue and lost his head a little bit, I'd say, actually, and went straight into Magnussen with his wing and broke it enough that he did have to come in and get replaced. Unfortunately, lost all that time he'd made up. And then we hit the rain.
Yes, the rain certainly put a bit of a spanner into the works. Not too many changes, though, down the grid. We had, though, a little bit of a jostling for position with those 2 Mercedes drivers, as we now see the podium celebration is happening here with the Prince of Monaco handing out that winner's trophy. Certainly has been an interesting day, though. The rain really did throw, as I said, that spanner in the works here.
Yeah, so the rain made it a little bit interesting for drivers to keep it out of the wall. Not all of them were able to, but not too many bad crashes there. And quite a few people were running off into the runoff areas, but somehow managed to recover the cars there absolutely fine. I suppose the one driver that didn't seem to be struggling too much in the rain at all was Fernando Alonso. I'd say Max Verstappen as well, but he was struggling a little bit with terms of keeping the car out of the wall, but did brilliantly to do so, and still managed to keep that gap ahead of Alonso, a massive gap that he managed to keep there. So in the end, a fantastic race for Red Bull. I think they were hoping for more from Sergio Perez, but unfortunately that shunt where he lost his front wing into Magnussen probably ruined his chances completely.
Yes, Magnussen not having the greatest day out there, of course, with that retirement but we will certainly be keeping an eye on those Hasses. They seem to be quite. I was going to say they seemed to be fast in qualifying, but they weren't. They were out in Q1. They certainly were not having the greatest weekend here in Monaco. Maybe just not being able to bring as much downforce as all of the other teams to be able to get faster around here. As we watch Esteban Ocon just completely elated there on the podium as he has finished here in third.
Yeah, and I think Aston Martin are also quite happy with the day, but you could also see the first time, somewhat subdued celebrations from Aston Martin. I think they were hoping for some more points, and the problem is Lance Stroll, unfortunately, not finishing that race does not help their cause at all. As I say, only 1 point ahead of Mercedes now. Mercedes had a very good day, finishing in 4th and 5th, so getting some good points for the team there.
Great points haul for Mercedes here. They'll certainly be very, very happy with that, with their new upgrades. Will we be seeing that throw them a little bit further up the grid, though, in Spain, a more traditional track where they can actually test out their new upgrades a little bit better? Of course, we had the upgrades with the W14 B-Spec car here in Monaco this weekend. Did seem to give them a little bit more pace here, but will they be able to compete with the rest of the drivers in Spain? As I said, we'll have to wait and see till next weekend.
Yeah, and another good team that's going to get some good points from this is Alpine, as you say, coming in 3rd and I think 7th respectively. No, 6th.
Yes.
So, 7th, because Leclerc was ahead of him. Yeah, sorry, 7th. Gasly was in 7th, but Ocon in 3rd. So some good points for Alpine as well. Ferrari, not a great day at all when you consider Leclerc started in 6th and Sainz started in 4th, and both of them then lost 2 places on the grid.
Yes, all in all, though, it was a great day out here in Monaco. Once again, just such a spectacle. Unfortunately, not providing the greatest racing all the time, but still incredible to have Monaco on our calendar. A lot of people do, unfortunately, disagree with that, but I don't think we'll ever lose Monaco from our racing calendar, as it is just such a historic and prestigious race.
All they need to do is just change that chicane after the tunnel section.
Yeah,
and maintain, just make it straight. You can have another DRS zone there, and suddenly Monaco will become one of the coolest tracks to drive in. So that's my only suggestion to Monaco, but I don't think they'll ever do it, which is very upsetting. Otherwise, we're hoping to see some smaller cars in the future.
Yes, well, thank you very much for joining us. It has been certainly a very, very interesting afternoon. Someone just asking, we all forgot to add Aston Martin messed up an Alonso pit stop. They didn't. They actually just pitted him in and put him on some mediums when it was raining, just to see if it was possible to have him running out on those mediums for when the track did eventually dry out. But unfortunately, it was just way too wet, and they sent him back in again on some
and we did touch on it earlier in the stream right now, but as you say, he had built up enough of a buffer that he could afford to go and see whether or not he could do it on the soft still, and just to try and maybe see if they could get ahead of the Red Bull if the rain had subsided straight away. The rain obviously kept going, so they just boxed them in for inters again and still stayed ahead of Ocon and still comfortably in 2nd at the end of the day. So to be fair, I'm going to give Aston Martin the benefit of the doubt and say that that was tactical. They just tried to see whether or not they could get ahead of Verstappen if in case the rain did subside straight away. Rain didn't, and they had enough time to stay ahead of Ocon. So as a result, still in 2nd for Aston Martin. No real stress there at all. A fantastic day, though, for Monaco, and of course, one of the most historic Grand Prix, if not the most historic Grand Prix that has ever been. The F1 in Monaco for 2023 is finished. Max Verstappen finishes on top.
Yes, we currently see the champagne flowing out there on the podium in Monaco. They have moved already those prestigious people out the way, the Prince and Princess of Monaco. But great racing, great spectacle is Monaco Grand Prix. But thank you very much for watching. Thank you for tuning in for our review show. We have been Forever Motorsports on Forever Sports. I am Mark. I am Reese, and Mark has been Mark. I'm so used to you saying Mark first.
Yes.
But yes, thank you very much for joining us, and goodbye.